So I was sitting in my MBA class a couple weeks ago and we got on a topic about trade wars and the rise of nationalism in the global market. And what was interesting is that's not really a conversation-friendly topic. It has kind of extreme stances on both ends. And so what was really interesting is that we definitely had both sides of the argument in the room, but people were not, which I guess isn't a shock, but people were not really excited and didn't actually open up and be honest about maybe their stance on it. And so today I just wanted to address this problem where we can't even in a classroom that, people pay good, ridiculous money for, have an open conversation about really an issue on which people disagree. In our culture, where there's not really any overtly evil enemies around which to rally, we start to turn disagreements into those enemies. And so, what's an example? In history, often what happens is when you have a war, the evil that you're fighting against tends to be that glue around which everyone rallies and sticks together for one common cause. And what we get today, because there isn't necessarily a war going on or this huge existential threat, we start to make them up. And what happens by doing that is people end up on far one side of an issue or not, as each side continues to perpetuate the other as that moral evil around which to rally against. And so it really ends up being this dangerous approach that is very powerful, but as we can see, very divisive. And so what's the answer to that? Well, again, I go back to that example in the classroom. Everyone was nervous to say anything. You're paying $6,000 to sit in that room for 11 weeks, and people are too nervous to have an open conversation about it. There's something very wrong about that. And so let's just dig right into what can we do about that when people on both sides of an argument are cowering in their little corners, hoping that they're not the next common enemy around which people will rally and cancel them off the face of the planet. Think about it. If you associate as a Democrat, are you a progressive agent for a better new world? Or are you a leftist destroyer of freedom? If you're a Republican, are you a racist white nationalist? Or are you a conservationist of liberty and truth? This type of black and white, all in or all out, it can't last. There's nowhere for people to go, and ultimately it won't make society better. We're already to a point where you don't even know your neighbor, and if you do, your first inclination is probably not to trust them because they might be on a differing side than you on any one of these issues. What can we do about it? Come away from this considering these action steps, which are easy to say, but harder to do. And it really comes down to this: people matter. Most of these polarizing issues, the common ground in between them is people. People are strongly passionate about what they think is best for each other. And unfortunately, it's kind of perpetuated in a negative sense rather than in a positive, loving sense. And so believe in your next door neighbor. Believe in the kid swiping your card at the drive-thru. Believe in your coworkers. Believe that they have the capacity to discern for themselves the virtue that you're trying to sell them. Do it in love. Maybe don't even start with the virtue that you're trying to sell them. Start asking their name. Ask them what they do, what they love, what they're passionate about, what they're suffering in. Get to know them. They're in the corner together with you, whether they're on one side of the issue or not, just cowering, ready to be canceled. So just get to know them. Put up your white flag. You're in no man's land. People matter. These issues, they don't matter if people don't matter, because most of the issues are about people. So start there. And ironically, what you might find is, while society tells you you need to hate and spit on each other because you found yourselves on different ends of the issue, you may have actually just made a friend.